Let's talk about decentering men. There's this interesting dialogue that's going on, and I want to share something too. So decentering men is not giving up your dreams of having a husband, of getting married. If that is your dream, you should go for it. And you should go for it as in actively search for it, not just wait for it to come. It is also not about not caring about your existing partner or husband. That is about making your life richer than just dating. Make your life interesting. Don't play hard to get. Be hard to get, as in busy, as in I'm into my life, and so I'm hard to get, not as in I'm too proud. And why you should do it, so that if you are single, or when you are single, for months, or maybe some people for years, you don't feel like you failed at life because you have other things that are going on, that are growing. If your goal is to get married, be focused on that goal. Keep it here. But remember that you have you, number one, and that's the number one thing you have. That's the person you're spending your whole life with and you're gonna die with.
I love how all of these modern women giving dating advice are always like, the number one thing you need to do is be narcissistic, essentially, right? Place yourself as number one. The man has to do everything. You have to be hard to get. You have to be strong and independent. And then men hear this advice that these modern women give, and they're like, you know what? I don't want to date women like this. I don't want to date self-absorbed women who want to get married but are so incredibly arrogant and annoying to deal with that you can't even marry them in the first place. But guys, what is going on? Today's episode, we have a video here from Ministry of Masculinity. I'm going to leave his channel linked in the video description. Let's take a listen to what some of these women have to tell us about decentering men. And remember, guys, this is fantastic dating advice, apparently.
Let's talk about what it means to decenter men and how to actually do it. So first off, what does it mean? Decentering men means shifting your focus. Instead of men being the center of your life, it's you. Essentially teaching yourself how to be an autonomous being. This doesn't mean you hate men. This just means they're not a priority.
Ladies, we are decentralizing men from our lives. We're not sitting around waiting for them to pick us. We pick them, if we want to. We are not pick-me girls who change who they are to gain another person's approval. No, we stand in our full authenticity and only choose to be around people who love us for who we are.
One thing I'll never...
It's crazy to me how all of these women making these videos are always like, I want an authentic man. But here we have filters, we've got makeup, we've got the whole works going on here. And it's all about how we get to choose a man, right? This is what we get to do. Men have to work for us. But what so many of these women don't realize is that they spent their entire 20s screwing around, and now they think they're super valuable in their 30s. But it doesn't work that way at all, actually. A lot of men will look at women like this and say, I'm not even interested in pursuing her. I don't want to take her out on dates. I don't want to marry her. I don't want to have a relationship. Quite simply, she is annoying. Let's continue on to the next one.
Never do again is think that a man can provide me with something that I don't already have or that I'm not capable of achieving on my own. I wasn't always this way. In fact, it took a lot of unlearning and work on myself to realize that I have everything I need inside of me to live an amazing life, and a partner will not complete me.
So much work on ourselves. I always hear this. We've done our healing journey. I've worked on myself, and now I'm ready for a real man. But if I don't get a man, that's totally fine because I love myself, right? And all of this working on herself, she's still single, she's not married. Oftentimes these women are single mothers or they're divorced, they're in debt, and they're trying to convince you that they are worth pursuing. It's really quite funny.
And I want to share something too. So decentering men is not giving up your dreams of having a husband, of getting married. If that is your dream, you should go for it. And you should go for it as in actively search for it, not just wait for it to come. It is also not about not caring about your existing partner or husband. That is about making your life richer than just dating. Make your life interesting. Don't play hard to get. Be hard to get, as in busy.
Yes, because I can't wait to date a strong and independent, self-absorbed woman. That sounds so incredibly exciting to me. What so many of these women don't understand is they'll say, I want to get married. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on myself and I'm going to focus on my goals. I'm not going to care about a man, but if a good man comes along, then I'm going to choose him because I'm the queen, right? But what happens when they do this is that they will never get a man that they actually respect, right? Therein lies the problem. because every single man that would accept this deal has no respect for himself. Right? She's going to look down on him. She's not going to like him. And eventually she's going to divorce him, take the kids, and say that he was a horrible person. So many of these women, they want to go into marriages. They want to go into long-term relationships thinking that they're superior and that the man should do absolutely everything. But unfortunately, guys, women don't respect men who do everything. I actually think that men are fully capable of respecting women who go out of their way to do a bunch of things for them and be nice and cook them food and all of this sort of thing. But when women are above men, when a man's doing all of these sorts of things, she just loses respect for him, right? It's really crazy how this works. Women will always say the opposite, right? They will say that, well, men don't have any respect for me when I'm chasing them. Right? That's because you're choosing the man that every other woman wants, and he wasn't interested in dating you in the first place. If you choose an average man, he's not going to look down on you or not respect you because you do nice things for him, because chances are that's one of the very few times in his life that somebody has done something nice for him. But you as a man, you can do absolutely everything under the sun for a woman, and she can treat you like trash. Right? So many women don't respect it whatsoever because they have so many damn options on dating applications. They think that they're always better.
As in, I'm into my life, and so I'm hard to get. Not as in, I'm too proud. And why you should do it, so that if you are single, or when you are single, for months, or maybe some people for years, you don't feel like...
Any woman who's single for months or years, by the way, absolute red flag. If she wants a relationship, that is. She's still a red flag, because if she doesn't want a relationship, then she's just going out there having her fun. But if a woman is single for years, hell, even months, and she wants to have a relationship, that says that she's just been screwing around with random men. I don't buy this whole, oh, I've been celibate working on myself for 5 years nonsense. I don't believe that.
Failed at life because you have other things that are going on, that are growing. If your goal is to get married, be focused on that goal. Keep it here. But remember that you, number one, and that's the number one thing you have. That's the person you're spending your whole life with, and you're going to die with.
Do you guys ever find it telling how the goal for these modern women is always to get married, but it's never to be a wife, right? It's never actually caring about the husband or finding somebody that they truly love that they can look after in their own way. You know what I mean? It never comes from a place of like giving or hell, even kids these days, right? They never even look at it, and women specifically, right? They never look at it as like, oh, this would be a great place. We get married, we can raise a family, that sort of thing, be nice and secure. No, they think of security as in money, right? And they think of marriage as in something that just gives status. It's always like, my goal is to get married. It's never to be a good wife, right? It's never to look after kids and raise a nice family. You don't hear that kind of stuff. I just want that ring on my finger so that I can flex to Becky down the street. That's the kind of track that they're going down here. Who says their goal is marriage? You know what I mean? It says that they don't actually give a damn about the husband in the situation at all.
That's the number one thing you have. That's the person you're spending your whole life with, and you're going to die with.
Something that the girls are going to hate to hear, but decentering men is significantly easier when you are living a life that they could potentially ruin, aka a life that you love, a life that you are fighting for, and a life that you are trying to grow and make better. Once you have that, it's going to be so obvious who is not adding to it, who is detracting from it, and who is making it worse. And when you see that so much of that is driven by people who are inconsistent, people who half love you, and people who don't have your best interests in mind, it's not even going to be a question of where your time is better spent and what's...
I love all of these women think that they're super intelligent, right? All of these guys who don't put in any effort and everything. I'm going to work on myself so that I know who to discount. But if the man is attractive enough, she's going to see him anyway, right? Whenever I see these videos, it's just like the battle is already lost. These women think that they're winning. They think that they're doing something, right? Like, I'm not going to give my energy to Chad because he doesn't actually care about me. But let's be honest, so many of these women will continue to chase men that don't care about them at all because they might want a relationship, but hey, he's attractive enough to go and have fun with anyway. And this is the thing about so many of these videos is women can sit here and they can say that, oh, I'm not going to date bad boys. I'm not going to date men who are not traditional, right? I'm not going to date the men who only want to use me for one thing. I'm going to focus on myself and do my healing. But the fact is, this is something that happens in perpetuity for these women, as in it simply doesn't end. They continue to chase these men, and then guys, like, this is why they only get bitter over time. You take a 20-year-old, she's having fun, she doesn't care so much. You take a 30-year-old, and now she's getting quite anxious. She wants to have a family. She wants to have a ring. She's got those standards now. Then there's 40, and it's just like completely lonely and bitter, right? It just escalates because the more time goes on, the more they've just dealt with more dudes who don't want to be with them.
Your time is better spent and what's best for you. It's either a yes or a no. That no becomes so obvious. And while you may feel bad because you were put in a situation to cut somebody off, in your heart, you're gonna know you did the right thing. And while you are decentering men in this way, you're also not aggressively angry about the fact that so many of them suck.
Because the thing that determines, right, this is what so many of these people never say, so that makes a man suck, or he's toxic, or he's awful, or he's a terrible person, is number one, because they don't respect him. So maybe he's a simp, right? Or he did too much for her. He cared about her too much. Or number two, didn't give her commitment, right? That's where you hear so many of these women complain that a man's toxic and that he's a piece of garbage and he just manipulated me and I'm the victim and all of this nonsense. It's not actually that the man's a bad person. I've actually seen so many situations where a man is totally upfront and honest and says that he does not want anything serious with the woman, but the woman will just continue break her heart and then cry and complain that the man was manipulating her in this nonsense. Right? Because you as a guy, you can be completely upfront, you can be completely honest. If you're attractive, they're still going to chase you anyway, and they're still going to sit there and complain when it doesn't work out and when the man doesn't want a relationship.
That officially becomes a them issue. When you look at their life and say, do I want to live like them? And the answer is no, but they look at your life and want to live like you already know who's going to be bringing who to whose level. And the fact that he's not going to be somebody who can do that for you is going to make you feel like he's a little dog up for adoption, not in the cute way.
Video goes out to all of the ladies. Some point in your life, you're going to realize that you've been lied to. And the lie is that there is a hierarchy when it comes to relational status. The lie is that people who are coupled or married are somehow higher value, better, luckier than people who are single. I hear it from men in my comments all the time. You're going to die alone. No one's going to want you. Enjoy your cats. And for all the men writing to the comments, I keep my relational status ambiguous across my platform. I've been in the public space for over 25 years. And what I know for sure is, number one, it's nobody's business. And number two, it doesn't. Because number three, this isn't my personal blog. I'm an educator. My work is based on facts and statistics and research. It's not even about me. Women are waking up to a lie that's backed by the way, 40 years of massive research and data that confirms that marriage is really an institution that benefits men.
Oh, really? Really? And this is why all of these women will fight tooth and nail to keep things like no-fault divorce. Let me tell you the truth of what's happening with marriage, guys. Women are initiating the majority of the divorces, and they are taking men for their money. They are taking men for their children. Oftentimes, they are only going into marriage in the first place in order to achieve said status, right? They don't actually give a damn about the marriage itself. They don't actually give a damn about being a good wife or taking care of their husband in any capacity, even though they would also be simultaneously be taken care of, right? And I see this lie so much of, oh, marriage is an institution that benefits men. I actually see a lot more women pushing for marriage than men are. That's the hilarious part about this situation, right? You are going to have a very, very hard time convincing me. You are going to have a very, very hard time convincing men that marriage is something that benefits men, when women are the ones who are overwhelmingly initiating divorces and completely ruining men's lives, right? And children, right? If they have any in the process, but not that we really care about those, am I right? Every single time I hear about these divorces, it's like, yeah, it's good for the children and all of this kind of nonsense. But I don't know about you guys. I don't typically believe it when these women are trying to sell you the idea that children are better off with a split family.
Men report higher states of well-being when they're married. They outperform their single colleagues at work. They are healthier. They live longer. Every question that's asked shows statistically that marriage provides a net benefit for men.
I'm not really sure how women are increasing these men's life expectancy. I would probably consider it more likely that they're simply choosing men who are likely to live longer, who have healthier habits, right? In that any man that's typically getting married to a woman these days is, when women say that they're looking for a husband, one of the primary things they're looking for is a provider, right? Somebody who plays it safe, who's kind, who can give her crap, a roof over her head, these sorts of things. And this kind of man, I would certainly correlate with someone who's perhaps more healthier than that big, huge guy at the gym, right? Who's a lot more healthier than Chad on the dating applications, okay? But these women, they think that it's like, oh, men get married and all of a sudden they just live 10 years longer. It's just nonsense, man. And yet marriage benefits men because men in marriages live longer. That doesn't really make sense to me. But they just treat this like it's the latest, hottest thing, and that's clear evidence that marriage is something that benefits men because women somehow just make men live longer.
When we look at the women, the opposite is true. Married women have more health issues, they die earlier, and they also report lower levels of happiness than their single friends.
Well, I have a solution. Stay single, don't get married, enjoy your cats, and be happy out there with your single friends, right? I'm sure Chad will appreciate you. Go out there, have your fun with bad boys, fail at getting commitment, cry and make TikToks, and then that way I have more content for the channel. Guys, we are going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, remember to leave your thoughts and your comments. I'm going to leave a link to the original video that I covered in the video description, guys. So make sure you go subscribe to Ministry of Masculinity, and I'm going to be leaving it there. Make sure you take care of yourself. Peace.